Welcome back. This is Reality Check. I'm Monica Zukas. I have a gun expert and a principal here with me this evening. We're talking, in general terms about the Sandy Hook tragedy. I have an elementary child, and I know many of you listening have children. There's nothing more important to us than our children. If something happens to one of my children, I'm not going to be okay forever, and that's not good. Today, I got the chance to take one of my friends with me and go to a shooting range for the first time in my life and put my hands on different types of guns. We had a little Ruger. I got my hands on a AR-15. I think that's correct. And I did not post the picture yet of myself shooting that gun because I felt kind of bad. But then again, I thought, you know what? I would never hurt anybody with a gun. I would never have any ill will or bad intentions. And I don't want us to start living in a place where, since a tragedy happened, I should feel bad about being able to protect myself. That's a fine line. I don't want to announce whether I have one gun or zero guns or an arsenal of guns, but I thought I went out there with good intentions. I was doing research for the show this evening. I learned safety. I learned from one of the best, and I don't want to feel bad because I was shooting that gun. God forbid, the parents that are dealing with the loss of a child, but so many of the parents that I've seen on TV said, we wouldn't mind at all if somebody would have got a hold of that guy. We wouldn't have minded at all if there would have been an armed guard or one of the teachers would have had a gun and been able to defend our babies. And, we talked about the heroine, Miss Soto, and I know there were more that protect their children, but where is the fine line, Larry, between guns are bad, there's just been a tragedy, why would you post a picture of yourself shooting an AR-15?
Well, first of all, simply guns aren't bad. They have no emotions. They have no brain of their own.
They're just a piece of metal.
That's right, without human intervention. It's the mindset of the person that's using the gun. Most of the time, guns are used for positive purposes. Let's just say target shooting, for instance. Millions of people over the country use guns, these so-called assault weapons, the military-style semi-autos, for target shooting. They use them for rodent control. I mean, there's a variety of things you use them for. Self-defense is only one small part of that. I might point out that the design of the semi-auto has been around since the early 1900s. And these so-called assault weapons, mislabeled assault weapons, operate just like your semi-auto shotgun, just like your semi-auto pistol, just like any other semi-auto rifle you have. They just have some modifications like pistol grips and whatnot that those other guns, traditional shaped guns, do not have.
And we do judge a book by the cover.
That's
whenever
correct.
Whenever I saw like the wooden rifle today, that didn't scare me near as much as the AR-15.
Yeah.
The AR-15 just looks scarier. And don't they take the same bullet?
Well, that's correct. They're all black. That's the traditional color of evil. Okay, there's a good reason they're black. It's a camouflage situation with the military, and this just came over onto the civilian side. But the gun itself is just not evil. It doesn't have intent.
One of the questions I wanted to ask you, what's the gun show loophole, and why do we need to close it? And if you're with the big bad NRA, why would you want to close any loopholes on the gun show?
Well, this is
Devil's advocately speaking.
Yes, that's fine. This is a deal that goes back in history for years, and right now it's become another hot topic, though it has nothing to do with this shooting in Connecticut or any of the other shootings, all right? These guns were legitimately bought by this young man's mother, and again, he stole them in order to do his dastardly deed there.
So we do know that these were guns in the home, purchased by the mother, that he had access to.
Legitimately obtained.
He was exposed to a tremendous amount of gaming, too. I mean, that's the other thing. I think we need to take a deeper look at some of these things that are going on in video games. I sit there and I don't know if any of you sat down, but I grew up playing Pac-Man, Donkey Kong.
Q*bert.
Q*bert. These games were all fun.
Mario Brothers.
These guys that are playing nowadays, they're playing, and Call of Duty. These games are... They're shooting other human beings, and these human beings are exploding, and they're dying in front of us. And there's a desensitization to that. And
we talked about this with our 9-year-old.
Hey, I'm telling you right now, that right there and there is one of the things we need to take a deep look at.
That's what Nicholas wanted for Christmas. He's like, Mom, I want Call of Duty. And I have rented him that game before, and Troy and I had the conversation. He said, you know what? There's no need.
Until you've done a tour of duty in Afghanistan, in some of these areas that these guys are doing, I don't think you should mess with that kind of stuff. That mentally, I think.
I mean, have you seen the game?
Well,
like,
if you
I
go to
hadn't
basic
seen it.
training, you should be able to do some of that stuff.
It's not good. Like,
I'm jumping out into this whole gaming industry, but I'm telling you right here and now that's
not
part
beneficial.
Of it. It's not.
Well,
violence in games and in media in general for kids to look at. We shield our kids from this whole,
we don't like.
On
hey,
Friday,
listen.
we don't look at this, but we're gonna let them go do this.
I don't want my child to know about what really happened in Connecticut, but he's been on my Xbox for 3 hours, bloodying his brother up with the. Okay, so my nephew and my son were playing Call of Duty. I mean, I'll go rent whatever. We'll check it out. And I thought, and they're as 9-year-olds over there talking to each other. I'm bleeding out. I'm bleeding out. Come help me. Come help me. And what? So I look, and my son on the game is bleeding out. He's been shot. So my nephew comes over and lays hands on him, and then he gives him a tourniquet or something on the game, and then he isn't bleeding anymore. And I'm like, I'm a cool mom, but I'm not a dumb mom.
Yeah, and I'm all about the defense of America. I'm a son of a veteran, a grandson, a great-grandson of a veteran. These people gave their lives for a necessary reason, but to have it on a gaming incident.
What are some of the things we can do to prevent school shootings?
Well, I'll give you the Israeli model. And in 1974, in a town, I'm going to try to pronounce this. I'm sure the Jewish rabbi that's on this station could probably
Moshe Lurie will, hook it up for us.
Al-Alat, I believe is the name of the town. They killed about 18 teenagers and several other adults in a school. It's a terrorist attack, in an attack on an elementary school in this town. The Israelis didn't monkey around. They went right to the top. They met force with force. They put armed guards, any volunteer teachers that wanted to carry a gun in a school, they did that. Here's the part that you alluded to, I think, during one of the breaks. They actually asked parents to come down and do a shift in the school. And I will tell you that between a security guard and a mom with a gun, protecting their children, the money's on the mom.
The money is on the mother.
You whip the head off of the guy that's coming in to kill his friend and spit down his windpipe.
Yeah.
And this stops. There's not been a school shooting in Israel since that time. So does that thing work? Absolutely it works. We got to entertain this thought, no matter how repugnant it is to you right now, to think about guns in schools.
But the final thing I'll say, and the one thing that I've noticed, I've been in the education game almost 20 years. The kids have never changed. The teachers have never changed. The whole process. It's the parents that have changed. I've noticed the lack of involvement, the lack of their
video games are the babysitter. Teacher is the babysitter. The skating rink and the Marion Pool in the summer is the babysitter.
I will say this to the
not at my house.
We will always continually have to. We babysit. We take care of kids. We babysit adults. And the bottom line is that we need to look deeper into parental, societal, the correcting of how we are bringing our kids up.
Can you believe an hour's gone by? We've had a wonderful conversation here tonight. It wasn't about Hot Topic. It wasn't about pushing the envelope so far over the edge. I got some crazy calls and told me to watch it. We're talking about protecting our babies. We've had a horrible tragedy in the United States, and there's a lot of different things we need to talk about. We probably need to do a part 2, 3, 4 on this. I'd like to thank Larry Morris this evening. I'd like to thank Andy Shelby. Thank you so much for your time. Please come and see us again next Friday on Reality Check. Have a good evening.
I really had a delightful time on the show tonight, and Monica's really a delightful, upbeat, interesting person. I think this subject that we talked about tonight about guns in schools and other methods of stopping school shootings is a subject that is hot right now, and it's a topic that we need to discuss in depth. It is multifaceted. It involves maybe arming teachers and administrators. It involves maybe getting hold of some Hollywood types and getting them to change their view about some of the films they make. And the gaming people need to get involved in this, and the mental health people. I understand from what little research I've done that the mental health system in the country is pretty broken, and that needs to be attended to if we're going to stop these kinds of tragedies.
It was a great experience tonight. I appreciate the opportunity to come out and speak on the behalf of the best interest of kids. I'll never, ever, ever side on any other thing than what's in the best interest of our young kids. And I really do enjoy the opportunity to talk about the procedures that can protect them and make sure that we make the right decisions in the future for them. And I'll continue to strive to do that, and if any way I can make a difference, I will. So, tonight was an opportunity for me to say so.
It affects everyone differently, and it's everyone's point of view. It's more than a talk show. It's a reality check. It's Reality Check with Monica Zukas.